All right. Good afternoon. I'm Becky Tuttle. I'm your City Council member representing District 2. And today I'm lucky to be joined by Representatives Valerie Wise and Brad Christopher from the Dwight D. Eisenhower National Airport. Welcome, Valerie and Brad. It's good to have you here today.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you. I hope everyone and your friends and family and neighbors are all safe and healthy.
Yep, we are, fortunately.
Great. One of the things I was telling Valerie a little bit before we got started when we were getting ready for this is that there are so many things about the airport that I love, but the glass jet bridge is absolutely my favorite. And I don't always realize how much I appreciate it until I get where I'm going and to another airport that doesn't have it. And Valerie, you said it's the largest installation in the nation?
That's correct.
That's great. A real attribute to our community. So thank you everyone for joining us. Today we're going to be taking travel questions here in a little bit. We also recently, the airport announced some changes aimed at keeping travelers safe and protect travelers and staff, which is important from the spread of COVID-19. And Brad, would you like to speak a little bit on that?
Yes, be happy to, Councilmember Tuttle. Thank you. Our initiatives at Eisenhower are laid out in our new plan under the ICT Ready to Fly program, and these are based on CDC recommendations as well as Kansas Department of Health and even our own Sedgwick County Health Department. But those primarily involve cleaning, disinfecting initiatives, procedures. I'll outline some of those, and we'll say that many of these are enhancements, things that we've always done, cleaned our facilities, but adding extra level of sterilizing and sanitizing as well, and of course the frequency. But we've enhanced those programs through cleaning processes, electrostatic spraying, which is an effective means to combat microorganisms. We deal with that on a daily basis. It provides a mist, negative particle charge that cling to surfaces and disinfects for a number of hours. Of course, this is in addition to the standard daily cleaning, frequent cleanings that we do, and those are custodians are using the same techniques they've always used, in addition to the technology on disinfecting, but just high touch areas like seating, handrails, elevator buttons, escalators, restrooms, things like that, kiosks. Other things we've done is we've virtually tripled the number of freestanding hand sanitizers that we put throughout the terminal building, just in high traffic areas. We're increasing our public awareness. As I mentioned, it's kind of a two-pronged effort. One is cleaning, sanitizing. The other thing is just procedural habit and personal hygiene and educating ourselves and the public on the things that we can do. But public information, personal hygiene, cleaning our hands, sanitizing our hands. Our airline partners are also participating in that. Protective plastic shields at counter areas where there's face-to-face interaction with the airlines, rental cars, TSA. We'll have some additional signage, public information announcements on our PA system, reminding the public to social distance. Another important element that we, the City of Wichita airport employees, have adopted is face coverings. And for our employees, in addition to other places, if they can't remain socially distanced and close in places, but anytime you'll see our employees in the public and in public access areas where the public are in those areas, we'll be wearing face coverings, and we ask that the public do that too. We see this as a partnership, if you will. our pledge and our commitment to the traveling public is to protect the facilities, clean, sanitize the facilities, and protect ourselves and protect you. And we ask that they do likewise. So we've also closed down temporarily a number of areas that are for a couple of reasons: high touch areas, transmittal areas, and also areas where we can combine our cleaning and sanitizing effort more heavily. So we have closed down a few of the less active restrooms. We've closed down children's play area, the water fountains, drinking fountains, things like that. So those are just a matter of high touch areas, trying to eliminate those and trying to consolidate our resources. I will mention just parking briefly. Our park and ride lot operations are temporarily suspended. We are not running the shuttles, but all the other parking services are completely open. Our short-term lot, our parking garage, economy lot, and so those are certainly services are still open to the public. We do offer, and this isn't new, have had for many years, but touchless options, express park type opportunities where people can use their credit card and not come in contact with another person, a cashier. So credit card exit. So those are some of the initiatives that we're very heavily involved with at Eisenhower Airport, and those will continue as necessary in the foreseeable future.
Brad, thank you. That was a fantastic list. And I must say, it's easy to read it off and for us to hear that, but it's also just noteworthy all of the work that you and your staff have done to implement that and to make sure that safety is the number one priority for people from our community who are leaving to travel, but then also guests who are coming to Wichita. So kudos to you and thank you for all you're doing. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
One of the things that I hear consistently in chatting with folks, whether it be businesses or organizations or people, is that they just want to know what they can do. They want to know what they can do to play a part of this and to help continue to mitigate the spread. And I heard you say it, but I'd like Valerie just maybe to talk a little bit more about, what should I do if I'm going to travel or my neighbors or friends are going to travel? What's expected of travelers when they come to the airport? And then also Brad mentioned about a mask, but Valerie, could you say just a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's very simple and it's not complicated, but we just want to make sure people know what to expect. And the airport highly recommends that people wear a face covering while in the terminal, and the airlines will require that you wear a face covering when you're boarding your aircraft as well as on the airplane. Travelers should practice social distancing, try to stay 6 feet away from others while in the terminal. Should not be traveling if you're not feeling well or if you have a fever, and should wash your hands and use hand sanitizer often. When passengers are going through the TSA screening area, they should continue to wear their face covering, but an officer will probably ask you to remove your mask so they can identify you and make sure you match your ID. People should know that the airlines have provided a very healthy environment. They have these air filter systems that are similar to what you would find in hospital rooms. The aircraft ventilation systems meet CDC recommendations, resulting in air being changed multiple times per hour while isolating airflow. And the airlines have implemented very thorough cleaning, disinfecting, and sanitizing procedures. Also, people should expect to have plenty of room on the airplane. The airlines have reduced the number of seats that can be booked by blocking middle seats, aisle seats, depending on the aircraft, how full the flight is, but families are still allowed to sit together. Passengers may be reassigned to different seats for the weight and balance of the aircraft, Airlines do have different policies, and they are constantly updating those policies as COVID-19 situation evolves. We believe that travelers should be checking their airlines websites for updated travel information. If you're flying Frontier Airlines, they have a policy that's different than the others. They're requiring passengers to accept a health acknowledgement on its website or mobile app before completing check-in. And passengers will have their temperature checked before boarding the flight. If your temperature exceeds 100.4, you will not be boarding. You will have an opportunity to have a second temperature check. If it still doesn't pass their recommendations, you won't be flying that day. They will work on reboarding you on a different flight.
Thank you, Valerie. I appreciate that. And thank you both. Travel, we know, is essential for our businesses and our community, and it's essential for people to be able to get where they need. COVID-19 has impacted travel numbers, not only in our community, but all around the world. And I know our airport is no different than any other city in the nation. How can we help support our economy through travel, Valerie?
Get on the plane and fly. Fly Wichita. We have this grassroots initiative called I Fly Wichita. It's about flying local, buy local, fly local. It's more important than ever to do so, especially here in Wichita where we build airplanes. With travel demand being so low, airlines have been canceling orders for aircraft. So not only does the low travel demand hurt passenger travel and it hurts the airlines that way, it hurts our economy. So we got to fill up those planes so that we can at least maintain the level of service that we have had before this happened, and then eventually grow. But the airlines, they really don't know what they're dealing with. This is a new situation. They've never had to deal with a COVID or with a pandemic before. So it's unpredictable. Can't compare it to 9/11, can't compare it to a recession. But the airline executives are all in agreement that this is going to be a smaller industry when we get done. So the more that we can grow, the faster that we can get on planes and travel, the faster the airlines will be able to bounce back.
Thank you for that. And I think we have a birthday coming up, a celebration for our airport this year in June. Is that correct?
Yeah, can you believe 5 years in June?
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I remember that I worked with Valerie and Brad when the airport first opened, and one of the organizations I was with had a walk run around the facility because we really wanted to invite everyone who was attending the conference to be able to see our world-class facility. So it's amazing how fast 5 years have gone by. And it's just reassuring for me to hear my husband is potentially getting ready to travel for a family, to visit a family member, and to hear that the airport is cleaner and safer than it's probably ever been when people are getting ready to fly. So that's very reassuring, I know, for me and for my family, as it is for the rest of our community to hear that. I think we're going to be open for any questions that people may have.
Yeah, so this is about the time of year when people would be planning their summer vacations, maybe trying to get out of town. Valerie, when can people start to feel safe to plan their vacations again?
Well, I think that a lot of that depends on when the country opens up and what attractions are open. As far as the safety and healthy environment, the airports and airlines are, like Becky says, safer and healthier than they've ever been. So as far as that's concerned, I wouldn't be concerned about that. It's just a matter of when things open and when Vegas opens or when the beaches and Disney World and those things open. So I'd start booking, looking at vacation spots, and the airline policies have been greatly improved. So if you have to cancel or change your flight plans, they will do that without any change fees.
Oh, that's good to know.
I think it's important to add too, and Councilmember Tuttle hit on something that's important to us. We're talking about your husband flying. Is there are a lot of assurances and promises that we're not able to make any more than anyone else in the country can, but it means a lot to us to be able to assure our community and our travelers that we take this serious, and we are doing everything we can with keeping ourselves safe that will help keep you safe, and we're cleaning and sanitizing. The airlines and TSA are also very proactive and very serious about that. So I have every confidence in the world that we are taking every reasonable step we can to keep our facilities and airplanes safe and
Open for
And,
business.
and to add on what Brad said about TSA, they have been wearing face coverings even before they were required to do so. They've also been, they have a plastic protective shield at the document checking podium. They've had that there before anybody else had it. They've been wiping down the bins with alcohol every time it's used. So you can be assured that they're doing everything they can at the TSA. They're also allowing you to bring a hand sanitizer bottle of 12 ounces in your carry-on. The previous recommendation was no larger than 3.4 ounces. Now, granted, you're going to have a little bit of extra security checking time, but you're still allowed to do that. Then also the employees are taking their temperatures before and after their shifts to make sure that that disease is not being spread around the TSA members, because if that was the case, then we'd have to close our TSA down. So being very cautious.
Great. Megan, do we have any other questions?
Just one, you touched on this just a little bit, but when people fly out of Wichita, there's a benefit to the economy. And as we're looking at the impact of COVID-19, what are some of the benefits when people choose to fly out of Wichita versus driving to Kansas City or Oklahoma City?
Well, you're helping your own economy as opposed to the economies of other states. You're putting those dollars spent on rental cars or concessions or whatever that you use at the airport that's being spent here locally as opposed to at other states. You're supporting jobs here in Wichita and South Central Kansas. You're supporting, the more air service, the more that you support the air service here, the more air service we'll be able to bring here, more nonstop destinations. That helps our economy. That helps us to attract businesses. That helps us to attract talent here. So it's really not saving you that much money by driving to another airport when you consider your time, your mileage, parking, everything that goes into that trip, that 3-hour one-way trip to Kansas City. You have to really weigh all of that and see if it's worth it. And in most cases, it's not.
using your local air service is truly a shop at home initiative, and it's good for us and good for our community and good for the people that travel. But as far as safety issues, if someone's on the road traveling, stopping in rest stops for gas, food, things like that, you're just increasing your touch points. And this airport is keeping itself as clean and sanitary as any other airport, probably more than many in the country.
Great points. Thank you. I always say that I live on the northeast side of town. That's where my constituents are in District 2. And when I land in Wichita, that's as far as I want to drive. I can't imagine driving another 3 hours to get to from Kansas City. So just coming from the airport to the east side back home is about as far as I want to do after I travel anywhere. Megan, do you have any other questions?
That's it.
All right. Well, Valerie and Brad, thank you for being here today. And I do have one rule, Brad, that you broke. It's always just Becky. Okay. So always just Becky. So I really appreciate you being here today. I appreciate anyone who's listening and watching today. If travelers do have additional questions, they can visit flywichita.com to get more information. And I hope that people in our community will know that the airport is one shining example of everything that the city of Wichita is doing to make sure that our residents are safe. Each of our departments are going to exhaustive lengths to protect our community members, just like the airport is. So I hope that that the people in Wichita will have a lot of faith that we're doing everything we can to help mitigate the spread of the disease and to help keep our community safe, and also our economy, to keep our economy and the momentum going. So just a reminder also for everyone to continue to practice social distancing, so keeping that 6 feet or more apart.
Uh-oh.
Make sure that you wash your hands frequently. Hand sanitizer when you can't, but make sure you're washing your hands, and wear a mask when you're out in public. So again, thank you to everyone. I also want to say thank you to Megan and Tyler for making sure that we had everything that we needed so we could do this virtually today, so people could get more information. So I hope you all will stay safe, and thanks for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.